Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at pitching for today, the 14th of September. It is Saturday. We do have an 8-game main slate. A couple other small slates like a 2-game early or very early, 3-game early. It's just a lot of split up things. And unfortunately, not a ton of money to be won in baseball today. Um, Really frustrating with the prize pools, to be honest. But we are here to talk about pitching. I've heard there's some possibility of rain in Atlanta, something that we want to pay attention to. But also told that it should be similar to last night and that they should be able to play through it. Uh, Reminder, this is a first look at the pitching options. I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you're on FanDuel, I would cut my pool into about a half or even a third. Reason being, pricing isn't as tight and scoring system is different. Allows us to focus on the top tier pitching options over there with the upside that they offer. Uh, and Ks are much more important on FanDuel than they are on DraftKings. With that said, let's jump right into some of these pitching options. At the top, we get that matchup of Chris Sale versus Flaherty. Uh, Great spot. Both guys offer plenty of upside. Uh, both matchups are obviously so. Flaherty really hasn't been striking anybody out in the second half. Shouldn't say anybody. That 5 to 7 range seems to be where he's sitting. He had that 110 strikeout performance, but aside from that, kind of just cruising in the 5 to 7K range. Sale we know has plenty of upside. Obviously, the Dodgers lineup slightly more dangerous than Atlanta at this point, but it is a very interesting spot for both pitchers this evening. Both guys rock a K prop of 6.5. Chris Sale's juiced pretty solidly on the over, and Flaherty juices on the under. And right now, Chris Sale sits as a minus 122 favorite. Game total of 7.5 with juice on the under. I actually would have thought it would have been a game total of 7, if I'm being honest. Both guys certainly going to be in play. Logan Gilbert, probably the top option on this slate. He's absolutely dominated Texas. This game total in this one is 6.5. He's a minus 162 favorite. K prop of 7.5. Juices on the under, but still K prop. Ridiculous amount of Ks going on recently for him. Obviously, home splits have been dominant. His K numbers are best when at home. There's just so much lining up for Logan Gilbert to be the top option on this slate. Joe Musgrove has struggled mightily against San Francisco. He struggled mightily on the road, but this is a ballpark that I love pitching in. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it. It is what it is. He's gone for 30 plus fantasy points in 2 out of his last 4 starts, showcasing the upside that he offers. His K props at 5.5 with juice strongly on the over. He is a minus 155 road favorite here. I'm going to go back to Musgrove. I will be stacking San Francisco a little bit just because they've had so much success against him, but there's plenty of upside in this spot. And honestly, I would not be shocked if a Gilbert Musgrove combination outscores Sale Flaherty. Obviously, Musgrove generally not the big K guy like Flaherty, Sale, or even Gilbert, but I think there's plenty of upside. Brandon Pfaadt has thrown best at home, but he has not been sharp of late. With that said, even though he's allowed some runs, he does have a double-digit strikeouts in 2 out of his last 5 starts. That's an interesting number. He is a minus 155 home favorite. K prop of 6.5, but juices very strongly on the under. I'm not sure I'm going to get to Pfaadt. He might be a last man in. Might be somebody that I just end up taking out. Just because he's allowing runs. And when you're allowing runs like that, like having to rely on big strikeout numbers to offset it is really difficult. Because as you see in the games that he hasn't struck out double digit recently, he's in the single point range. Um, we're not really interested in that kind of return. Obviously, GPP wise, we take chances, so that's why Fott might make it in. But right now, I'm looking to possibly not use him. Tobias Myers, K numbers aren't as strong when on the road. Walks go up, but some of his underlying numbers are better. That said, he's coming off of a career performance. It's really tough to want to utilize him after such a strong performance. The last time he was dominating Cincinnati, came back and faced the Dodgers, and wasn't that strong. Like I mentioned, Fott is the favorite in this one. Myers' K prop is just 4.5 with juice on the under. Arizona's been the best team in baseball in the second half. They scored the most runs in baseball all season. I don't see a reason to go with Myers. Max Scherzer, I'm not sure how many pitches he threw in his last rehab start. I do know that he went to 4 innings and looked sharp, but there's still some question marks. But with that said, this is Seattle. This is a team that strikes out a ton. His K prop's 4.5, juices on the over. Game total of 6.5. Like there's just so many things that are interesting to me that I think I'm going to want to utilize him, unless I find out that he's stuck at 50 pitch ceilings or whatever. But I don't know that they would have had him start right after DeGrom, which was right after Kumar Rocker, if they didn't think that he can get some length. Rocker was held to just 4 innings. DeGrom did not even finish 4 innings. Bullpens aren't that deep. The September roster expansion only increased the roster by 2 guys. It's not like years ago where you could go to 40. So they still have a bullpen that's been utilized the last couple days. So I think Scherzer's probably going to see, 5, 6 innings, but that's something we'll have to dig into and try to find hard, concrete numbers to back that up. Verlander has not looked good. Really rough, to be honest. But man, it's tough to see it because he has plenty of upside. He's been really solid on the road, not great, but solid. Um, it's just his last handful of starts haven't been great, but back in May he did put up some really strong starts. Um, I'm not really sure what to do. He is a -175 favorite in this game, and he rocks a K prop of 5.5 with juice on the under, but still K prop of 5.5, which uh, he's only gone over once over his last 6 major league starts. Uh, it's one guy that I just might slide in based on name, but man, that if he does make my pool, I can't see myself wanting to go more than 10 or 12% at this point. Tyler Anderson has struggled at home. He's been decent against the Astros, but Astros don't strike out. As you can see, he's striking out 4.5 per 9 innings against them. Coming off a pretty solid start, but I'm going to have to pass. I just don't think he has enough upside for us on the slate, even though the pitching options overall aren't all that impressive. I just don't think we need to go to Tyler Anderson. Now, somebody that I do think we might sprinkle in here is going to be JT Ginn. K prop of 4.5. Juices on the under with that one, but still a K prop of 4.5. He's a -166 favorite against the worst team in baseball. Now, the reason he hasn't showed massive upside by any means. He was pretty solid against Seattle. If he would have got the win, he's approaching 24 fantasy points. That's pretty solid. If we get this kind of performance with the win again, he's got a shot to be the SB2 on this slate just based on how pitching options look. So for that reason, I will be utilizing some JT again. I will utilize some Woods Richardson here. He's been really good at home. We know Cincinnati woke up yesterday against our Bailey Ober, but they still have a tendency to go really cold. They were ice cold going into yesterday's game. Now, obviously, they could get hot over the next few, and it wouldn't surprise me. Simeon Woods Richardson, his strikeout upside really sucks generally. He gets some upside in this matchup though, so we could see an increase on these K numbers. Not sure if I mentioned he is a minus 155 favorite. His K props at 4.5. Juice is on the under, but I think there's a possibility he could get to 5, 6, and 7 strikeouts. Over 4.5 is just plus 100, um, which isn't terrible. Recent trends not great. Everybody's going to see that Cincinnati did damage yesterday. I don't expect them to be very popular, so I might sprinkle them in. Like I mentioned, the pitching on the slate is not ideal. Jameson Tyon been decent lately. We do like picking on Colorado. I'm gonna want to look into his career numbers pitching in Colorado. Hopefully, he has some to base things off of. His K prop's 4.5 with juice on the over. He's a minus 148 favorite. So if I'm gonna choose any pitcher in this game, it's gonna be Tyon. Even though Freeland's actually been decent at home, he just had been lit up by the Cubs. His recent starts have been strong, but still, I really don't want to take a pitcher today in Coors. Unless we find out that it's going to be cooler there. I haven't looked at any of the weather. Nick Martinez has been pretty good on the road. Coming off of an elite start, was solid against Houston. Um, Maybe somebody I need to consider. I wasn't considering him when I opened up this slate, but maybe I do need to consider utilizing Nick Martinez. Um, that the last two starts have been really strong. He's done it a ton on the road, in Milwaukee, Miami. Started out the year kind of in the bullpen at LA, absolutely shut him down too. So um, maybe Nick Martinez is the guy that we want to utilize today. Uh, Maybe even more than Simeon Woods Richardson. Might have more upside, to be honest. But that's something I'll have to spend the afternoon kind of thinking about as I put together my content and notes for the members over at DFS Army. So that's all we have for you today. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us and get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's RAZ, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.